Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour of this computer, show you how to safely get inside, and how to access many of the various components. So first thing, power down your computer, make sure that it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip your computer over to access the bottom case screws. Now all the screws you need to remove in the bottom case are noted by the red arrows. These screws are captive screws, which means even after unscrewing them, they do not come out of that bottom case. After unscrewing them, you will take a small flat pry tool and you will insert it into the seam between the bottom case and the computer, and you'll gently pry that bottom case off from the rest of the computer. It's generally best to start out back near one of the two corners and work your way down the sides to the front. Try not to put the pry tool too far in, you could damage some internal components. Just keep it on the edge, go nice and slow but firm, and you'll be able to get that bottom case off. After you do, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general computer repair side note, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your computer project, as well as any of the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer, I will have a link above, also below in the description, and it will be a list of all the tools and supplies, as well as the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer. This battery is a 15 volt, 53 watt hour battery. The Dell part number is H5CKD. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also include the battery replacement options for you in that list with all the tools and supplies and replacement parts for this computer. Also note that this computer does have a smaller battery option, a 40 watt hour battery option, and that will free up some space on the left of the computer for an additional storage SATA drive. The battery is held in by screws next to the red arrows and plugs into the motherboard near the blue arrow. To unplug it from the motherboard, you would pull the plug down out of that port. However, be careful when pulling on wires or cables in a computer. If you pull too hard, you could damage them, and sometimes you could pull them right out of the plug. So if at all possible, just manipulate the plug as much as you can. Use a pry tool or your fingernails to wiggle that out of that port so you don't damage the wires. One thing to mention about this operation, if you are here because your computer is not turning on, it could be a bad battery. You may have to replace it, but keep in mind that most laptops should still turn on and work with a bad battery as long as the charger is plugged in and working. So if your computer is not turning on, there could be something else wrong other than just a bad battery. If you would like help troubleshooting your issue, I will have a video tutorial link above, also below in the description, and that will be the full troubleshooting process I use in my shop to find out why a laptop's not turning on and how to fix it. This computer has two SODIMM memory ports, and you're going to take a different kind of RAM depending on what processor you have. So if your computer has the Intel Celeron processor, you're going to take DDR4 2400 megahertz RAM. If you have one of the Core I's, the i3, the i5, the i7, then you'll take DDR4 RAM, but at 2666 megahertz. I will have all that information below in the description for your reference, but I will also have several replacement and upgrade options for you in that list with all the tools and supplies and replacement parts. I will have an 8 gigabyte stick if yours went bad and you want to replace it, but don't want to spend more than you have to. I will also have a 16 gigabyte kit, which would be one 8 gigabyte stick for each port. And then this computer maxes out at 32 gigabytes. So I will have a 32 gigabyte kit, which would be a 16 gigabyte stick, one for each port. And just so you're aware, if for some reason you end up putting that higher megahertz RAM into the computer that takes the lower megahertz RAM, you're not going to damage anything. You won't hurt your computer by doing that. The RAM will just operate at that slower megahertz speed. Just so you guys know that and you're not worried about that. The way to operate RAM, you see two spring-loaded metal arms on either side of the RAM stick near the red arrows. The way to get the RAM out is you would gently pry those apart from each other, away from the RAM stick. The RAM will then release. It'll often pop up a little bit, and then you can pull it out of that port. To get the RAM stick back in, if you'll notice near the blue arrows, there's a long section to the plug and a short section. So you can only get the RAM stick in one way. You can't put it in upside down. Once you get it in, get it nice and lined up and flush. Make sure the gold section near the green arrow, make sure that's nice and even along the length of the port. Once it is, you just press down on the RAM stick and the metal arms will latch onto it and hold it in place. This computer has a couple different storage locations. The first one that I'll show you is near the red arrow. That is a PCIe NVMe Gen 4 solid-state drive port. This computer accepts both the 2230 smaller drives as well as the larger 2280 drives. Below in the description, in the link I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, replacement, and upgrade parts, I will have several different options for you for both the 2230 sized and the 2280 sized, depending on if you just want to replace a bad one but stay cheap and go as small as possible, or if you want to upgrade to a much larger storage size. In order to access the secondary storage location, you need two things. You need to be using the smaller battery option to physically make room for the extra drive, and you also need the connector cable that plugs into the motherboard. This location, noted by the red circle, is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive or solid-state drive port. As with the solid-state drive option, I will have several replacement and upgrade size options for you below in the description in that link with all of the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer. Also keep in mind, if you are installing a new drive onto this computer, you may need to install an operating system onto it afterwards. I will have video tutorial links below in the description showing you how to do that. Also, be aware that if you're replacing a drive that has gone bad, it's usually possible to recover data even from those bad drives. I will have more information about that below in the description as well. This computer has two speakers noted by the red arrows. These speakers are not actually screwed down. If you notice the rubber washers over those posts for sound insulation, that's all that's holding them down. So if you're trying to get these speakers up, you can just wiggle them right off of those posts and get them up. As noted by the blue wires, you'll see where the speakers connect to each other and then run up to the motherboard and plug in near the green arrow. Now, speaker wires are very small, very fragile. Definitely don't yank on them more than you have to. And when unplugging it, try to just use your fingernails or a pry tool to wiggle that plug out of the port. Pull on the wire as little as possible. If you're looking for speaker replacements, I will try to have a selection in that list I told you about below in the description with all of the tools, supplies, replacement, and upgrade parts for this model computer. And as an extra side note, if you are having sound quality issues in your computer, if your sound is not consistent across different platforms, try updating your drivers first and trying to fix it that way before assuming that it's a speaker issue and trying an invasive repair like this. I will have a video tutorial link below in the description, also above in the video, and it will show you how to make sure your drivers are updated so you can rule that out first. The Wi-Fi card is noted near the red arrow, and it's held down by a single screw noted by the blue arrow. I will have all the Wi-Fi card specifications below in the description for your reference, but I will try to have a Wi-Fi replacement card in that list I told you about with all of the tools and supplies and upgrade parts for this model computer. To remove the Wi-Fi card, after taking that screw out, you're left with the antenna wire. Those are just snaps, so you pull those directly up and off of the Wi-Fi card to snap them off. However, they do need to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap back on, and you are strong enough to damage them if they're not at the right angle and you try to force it. So it could be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Just go slow, be patient, and you will be able to snap those back on. I did want to quickly add too that if you cannot access your internet options, if you cannot see the Wi-Fi network options, that's probably not a Wi-Fi card issue. That's probably a system driver issue. I will have a video tutorial link above, also below in the description, and that will show you how to remedy that situation if that's why you're here. This computer has a single fan by the red arrow. The heatsink goes from the fan in the vent area over the CPU area, noted by the blue arrow. If you're here to simply replace a fan, be careful when taking it up. The fan wires are exceptionally fragile. Be sure to not pull on those wires more than you have to. Just try to manipulate the plug, if at all possible, with your fingernails or a pry tool or even a small pair of pliers. If you're here to clean out your computer, maybe you're experiencing overheating issues, you will be able to blow out or vacuum out that fan once you get it up. I will have a nice vacuum blower option below in the description in that link I told you about with all of the tools and supplies and replacement parts. I will also try to have a replacement fan option in there as well. For those of you that are having overheating issues, or maybe you're just doing preventative maintenance, after taking the 4 screws up by the CPU near the blue arrow, you are going to want to clean off all the old thermal paste before reapplying your new thermal paste. You don't want to put new paste on top of old paste. It won't work very well. If you need help with any of this operation, I will have a video tutorial link below in the description. Also, I'll put it above in the video. It will show you how to fix an overheating laptop. And one of the things it will show is how to clean off all the old paste from both the CPU and the heatsink. And then it will show how to apply the correct amount of new thermal paste. If you put too much down, obviously it won't work. But if you put too much, it ends up locking heat in rather than facilitating its transport out. So again, that video will be available if you need it. One more thing to shout out about thermal paste, they're not all created equal. Generally speaking, the cheaper stuff will do a good job, but a little more expensive stuff will do a better job. I will try to have 2 different thermal pastes in that list for you to choose from. Another thing that I'll mention here are these ribbon cables that you may encounter as you try to move various components. You'll see one example near the red arrow. Those black clips that hold those ribbon cables down are very fragile and very easy to break. And if you break them, you're probably not going to be able to find a replacement, which means that your ribbon cables may never secure down well again. So when you're operating those, be very careful. The way to operate them is to use a small, very, very flat pry tool, slide it up in the direction of the red arrow underneath the black clip. You then gently pry it up to release the ribbon cable. The clip will open like a book cover. It will open on the end of the red arrow, and its hinges are on the upper end near the blue arrow. And once you open that like a book cover, you'll be able to slide out that ribbon cable. And then I always put down that clip so it doesn't get caught on anything because, again, you really, really don't want to break those. But that's the end of the video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, check out the FAQs below in the description. It could save you some time getting an answer. If you do need to leave me a question or comment, please feel free. I do try to get to those a couple times a day at least. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.